boys and girls. Today is May 16th, but the work is going to be for the week of May 16th because we're working with the writing process right now. And so it's different steps. The first step is to plan, and then to draft, and to edit. And I'm going to include those forms on the internet so that you can work on a different form each day. The story that we're going to work with is called The Hares and the Frogs. And the objective says I can answer questions in writing about a story. I can edit a draft of a narrative retelling a fiction story. And so when we do our draft, it's going to be about the hares and the frogs. And then we're going to edit. So that's what that means. We're going to edit what we've written. And then I can read one-syllable words spelled with the vowel digraph, O-O-S and look. Earlier we learned O-O with the line underneath it was the oo sound, as in soon. And it has the line under it so that you can see the difference, because when you see the O-O without the line, it's going to be the sound, as in look. So remember, O-O with a line is oo, as in soon. O-O without the line is going to be as in look. Also, that sound is found in the words wood, wool, cook, good, foot, book. And so these are some little riddles for you to think. Which one are they describing when we read each word, each riddle? So you're going to choose one that gives the answer to each of these. And let's see, I need to erase these. Okay, so the first one says, I'm thinking of someone who works in a kitchen. The food tastes yummy. So which one of these would be a person who works in a kitchen? You say it out loud, and then I'm going to write it. Cook. Cook can be a noun or a verb. If it's a person who's going to do the cooking, it's a cook. If it is actually cooking, I will cook gumbo. Then cook is a verb, the action of cooking. Number 2, a body. I'm thinking of a body part attached to my leg. It can kick a soccer ball. Think of a body part attached to your leg and say it out loud. And then I'm going to write it. Foot. Can you hear that sound in foot? Number 3, I'm thinking of something we are learning to read. These are in the library. Can you think of what it is? Say it out loud. I'm going to write it. Book. Number 4, I'm thinking of something that comes from trees. We use it to make tables and chairs. Say it out loud. I'm going to write it. Wood. Number 5, I'm thinking of something that covers a sheep. You can use it to make sweaters. Say it out loud, and I'm going to write wool. Baa baa black sheep. Have you any wool? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full. Remember that rhyme, that nursery rhyme. And the last one, I'm thinking of a word that is the opposite of bad. This word rhymes with wood. And the opposite of bad is good. We do good work. And I'm so proud of the children who work all the time completing their assignments because you're learning. Okay. So our story today is going to be, as we said before, the hares and the frogs. And we're following these 3 steps in the writing process. We have to think of a plan. So we're going to write down the key parts of the plan. And then once we've done that, we're going to write the draft. And the important thing about writing the draft is to get our ideas down. Then we're going to go back and edit. We're going to look at our draft and see have we done the things that we're supposed to do. The plan, if we refresh our memory, is this form where we have to fill in the boxes. The name of the tale, who, where, once there were, next in the tale, at the end of the tale. And you don't always have to say once there were, but you do have to use words to introduce your story. And then you do want to use words that keep the story going along. And then you want to say at the end of the tale, or by the end, or finally, or something like that. So it shows that you're at the end. And we use King Log and King Crane to do that together. And then once we did our plan, then we wrote our draft. And this one is a little longer. It has the name of the tale. In the tale, the two dogs, and you can tell, you can tell what it was because I scratched this out, but you could say in the tale, King Log and King Crane, and then you could say something about it, but really you could leave this out and just put the title. And then remember we put once there were frogs who wanted a king, so the gods sent them King Log. They did not like King Log. Next, they asked the gods for a new king. The gods sent King Crane. King Crane chased at them. Remember, he chased them and he ate them. So at the end, the frogs asked for King Log again. The god says, no, keep King Crane. And then here it says, this tale tells us to be happy with what you have. Remember, we said that these tales tell us, they give us a moral or something to learn from the story. And then this is new. I liked or I did not like. You can circle liked if you liked it. You can circle did not like this tale because, and then you can tell us why. And it's okay not to like it. I really didn't like this tale too much. So I would write that I did not like it. But you tell why. You can't just say you don't like it. You have to tell why. So now we're going to look at when we write our draft. We want to do it step by step, and we want to make sure, and this would be the part where we edit. And edit means to change, but you need to know what's wrong in order to change it to make it right. So it says to check for the name of the tale, make sure that it's there. Check to see where it is. Now, where would be the setting or the place. Check who they are because that would be the characters. Check what tells, remember what was on the side, and it says once, next, and at the end. Make sure you have the beginning, the middle, and the end. Check for capitals, lowercase, and uppercases. Check punctuation. Make sure you have question marks, periods, and exclamation marks. And it's okay when you are telling a story, it's okay to ask a question. And 7, check words are spelled right. Make sure your words are spelled right. And remember when you're spelling, when you're writing it, we're all supposed to always spell it the way it sounds, because then if we sound it out, we can see what words you actually meant to write. Another thing is, what do you do when you're checking it and something is wrong? So we're going to use these editing marks, and editing means changing, correcting. So we have correction marks. So when you are reading a story and the punctuation is wrong, you cross it out and you write the correct punctuation mark above the wrong one. So let's pretend that the food is yummy has a question mark. It's good to use a different color, and what you would do is cross it out with one line and then put a period. So that shows how you correct punctuation marks. Or if there is a period and it should be a question mark, then you would draw a line through the period, and then you would write over it the question mark. The second says, cross out capitalization mistakes and write the correct upper and lowercase above the wrong one. So suppose this was the beginning of the sentence. Well, I can leave the S. And we wanted it to be, because it's actually, this is the beginning of the sentence, and then we continue here. But suppose this was the beginning of the sentence, then we would draw a line through it, and we would write capital S. And so you would do that for anything, any capital letters. If there was a name, and the name had a lowercase letter, you would put a line through that first letter, the lowercase, and write the uppercase above it. 3 says to write a caret, and that's like a little caret that's a V that's shaped upside down, where a word or punctuation mark needs to be. So if I'm writing a body part is attached, and the is not there, what we would do is we would make this little sign, and then we would write the word is. So you can see what the corrections are, and then when you write it over, you would write it with the corrections. And again, look for misspelled words. But when you're writing it and it's misspelled, but it's spelled the way it sounds, that's okay, because then we will know what word it was supposed to be. So these are good ideas to help when you are editing your work. So I'm going to include these sheets. I'm going to include the sheet like this for the hare and the frog. And you know, a hare is a rabbit. And I'm going to include, so you're going to do this one day, and then you're going to have this sheet where you're doing your draft. It's actually 2 sheets. Now, if you don't want to write it on line, you can just write it on a sheet of paper, because all you're really adding is the name of the tail, once, next. So that's easy to do. Even with this is very easy to do, writing it on your own sheet. And then I want you to do it on your own if you can, and then give it to mom or grandma or dad or someone to correct it, and then rewrite it. And then if you're doing it on this sheet, take a picture and send it to me, because many of you take pictures and send things to me, and that's great. So we're going to read our story. Let me put it on here. So you can see it's going to take us a while to do this activity. That's why we're just going to have one story a week, because we're going to do different things. And I'm going to try to include the OO also. So this is the hares and the frogs, and I didn't put in the. Okay. Wait. I could have turned the thing. That's fine. Okay, the hares and the frogs. 3 hares stood in the grass. And you remember, they're going to highlight the sounds. I am sad, one of them said. I wish we were brave. Wait, no, okay, let me put it this way. Is that better? 3 hares stood in the grass. I am sad, one of them said. I wish we were brave. So do I, said the next one. But we are not brave. A splash in the brook scares us. The wind in the grass scares us. We are scared all the time. Yes, said the last one. It is sad to have to be a hare. So they thought because they were hares they were not brave. So there they are. We know the word for hares is rabbit. Just then there was a splash in the brook. The splash scared the hares. They ran off to hide. As they ran, they scared a bunch of frogs. Look, said one of the hares, the frogs are scared of us. Let me read that again. Just then there was a splash in the brook. The splash scared the hares. They ran off to hide. As they ran, they scared a bunch of frogs. Look, said one of the hares, the frogs are scared of us. So did they realize that they're not the only ones who are afraid? Yes, they are. The frogs are scared of us. Yes, they are, said the next hare. They are scared of us. Well, I'm glad I'm not a frog. Yes, said the last hare in the end. It is good to be a hare. So the hares were afraid, so they didn't want to be hares. And when they realized that the frogs were afraid too, then they realized that they're not the only ones who are afraid. And so then they were okay being a hare. Okay, let's see. This is going to be our questions that you're going to do on your own. It says, where did the hares have a chat? In the grass, in a tree, in a hut? The next question says, why were two of the hares sad? They were fools. They were tame. They were not brave. What are some things that scare the hares? So you'd have to go back to the story and see what scared the hares. Who was scared of the hares in the end? And I'm also going to give you this sheet because this is a sheet that gives you some words in a word box that has O-O as in soon, and that would be the oo sound, and O-O as in look, and that would be the sound. So these words are boo, book, bloom, food, took, cool, good, cook. And you can write this on a sheet of paper if you want. Here is oo as in boo, and ook as in book. And you're going to look at those words at the top, and you're going to write all of the words that have the oo sound under boo, and all of the words that has the sound as in book. So your work for this week is going to be to read the story, to answer the questions, and then to do those worksheets where you're going to write your plan on one sheet, and then you're going to draft it. You're going to write your story. You're going to take the words out of the boxes and make it a story, and start each one of those as a paragraph. And you can make it longer than I've been doing. It's okay. And then you're going to check. You're going to edit it. You're going to check when you have written it for any mistakes. If you're leaving out punctuation, if you're not using capital letters, because remember in class we do that all the time. And then you can even correct yourself. And then once you've corrected yourself by drawing lines through what is wrong and writing what you should have written on top, once you've done that, then you can rewrite your story. So you have to do that too. And we're not going to do everything in one day. It's going to take us a few days. And then you're going to also do the O-O and the oo sound too. So hopefully you'll be able to do those things. And it should take you about a week to do them. And then next week we'll have another story. So now we have the story, Little White Rabbit. And Little White Rabbit is a read aloud that I have off of the internet by Kevin Henkes. Listen to this story and see if it sounds familiar. Remember, those rabbits were scary. They called them hares, but remember, they were scary in the story. And they didn't want to be rabbits anymore.
Little White Rabbit by Kevin Hankes. Little White Rabbit hopped along. When he hopped through the high grass, he wondered what it would be like to be green. When he hopped by the fir trees, he wondered what it would be like to be tall. When he hopped over the rock, he wondered what it would be like not to be able to move. When he hopped under the butterflies, he wondered what it would be like to flutter through the air. When he hopped past the cat, he was too frightened to wonder anything. So he turned around and hopped as fast as he could. Soon, Little White Rabbit was home. He still wondered about many things, but he didn't wonder who loved him. The end.
That was cute, boys and girls. And so did it remind you of the story that we read about the hare and the frogs? Little White Rabbit wondered about things, but in the end he was glad that he was Little White Rabbit. And in the end of our other story, the hares were glad that they were hares. Okay, let's work hard this week, and I will give you a lesson in math tomorrow. Goodbye.